The $1,000 Ethereum. Will we ever see it again? I personally think yes, but the path to a $1,000 Ethereum will not be the same as it was back in 2017. The ICO game has changed forever. So how will Ethereum get back to 4 digits? We're going to unpack that. Before I do jump into that, though, just a quick reminder to please take your security seriously. I see so many people down in the comment section over on Twitter and places like that who are still keeping their crypto on exchanges. Get a ledger. Take charge of your crypto, your keys, your Bitcoin. The new Ledger Nano X is out now with increased storage, Bluetooth capabilities, and free shipping. There is a referral link down below where you can get yours. So, Ethereum today is chilling around $275, which is well below the $1,400 high of January 2018. $1,125 below, to be exact. Come on, Ethereum. I'm sure at this point, though, many of us are really just hoping that we actually crawl back across the $300 mark. That would be great. But I am more optimistic on the future of Ethereum. I think that Ethereum can and will cross back over the $1,000 mark if it can manage to accomplish a few key things. Because Ethereum needs to start pulling some new tricks. Back in 2017, 2018, Ethereum went crazy as a result of the ICO boom. Teams were raising in Ethereum. Thus, all the punters had to go out and buy Ethereum to participate in the ICOs. And since basically every ICO was mooning, investors were trying to get into every possible ICO. Thus, they were buying crazy amounts of Ethereum. And then once those teams had the Ethereum, the responsible teams sold it for fiat in order to develop their products because they needed a dollar amount. That's why they raised. The irresponsible teams rode Ethereum from $1,400 all the way down to $80 before selling the bottom, before disappearing somewhere to cry deeply, letting their tears of sorrow fill their empty whiskey bottles as they watch everything crumbling before them. But most projects sold before that point, thankfully. Now, the ICO boom is not likely to come back for Ethereum. Why? Because the IEO, initial exchange offering, has kind of killed the ICO. If you want to look for fundraising boom coins, well then check out the exchange tokens, because that's where the money's flowing right now. Just look at the BNB token and the demand that has come for the BNB token from all of Binance's IEOs. Teams are not raising in Ethereum these days. Private sales are happening either in fiat or in fiat-pegged coins, or maybe with Ethereum directly changed over to fiat. And public sales, they're using the exchange tokens. They're using BNB, KuCoin shares, the Huobi token, the BitMax token, etc., etc., etc. Every exchange seems to have a token these days. Sorry, Ethereum. But even if your ICO days are largely finished, you can at least take solace in the fact that most of these IEOs are actually ERC20 tokens. They're just not taking the money for the fundraisers in Ethereum. And without the ICO, what is the long-term price prospect for Ethereum? Well, I think it depends on 3 things: a successful upgrade, dApps, and decentralized finance. So let's unpack all of this. So what Ethereum must absolutely do in order to have any kind of long-term success is to pull off a timely and successful upgrade to Ethereum 2.0, because there is a crazy amount of competition out there right now, and everyone wants a piece of Ethereum's pie. And there are many blockchains which are competing or out-competing Ethereum on things like transactions per second and consensus and all this kind of stuff. But Ethereum does maintain the biggest developer community and the largest number of projects built on it and the biggest network of highly influential partners. So it's got a lot going for it. The so-called Phase 0 of Ethereum 2.0 is scheduled for January 3rd of next year, which is basically just the earliest steps towards making Ethereum 2.0 come to life. Ethereum 2.0 will include key upgrades like moving to a proof of stake system, which of course is then going to allow you to then stake your Ethereum and to earn off of your Ethereum holdings. It'll also see the implementation of sharding, which is becoming a standard for blockchains. And that, of course, will massively scale the transaction volume and the throughput volume for Ethereum. And an enhanced Ethereum virtual machine that will have expanded coding options and capabilities. The trick, though, with upgrading Ethereum is that there is currently $30 billion worth of value at stake. One mistake puts all of that wealth in jeopardy. So it's a slow process. A big part of the conversation around scaling Ethereum has centered around sidechains and around layer 2 scaling solutions. We have a lot of projects working on that, like Matic and Omisego and Loom and Engine and Raiden, all of which in their own ways will be taking scalability to the next level for the Ethereum network. Of course, all of the scalability in the world doesn't matter at all if there are no users for the things built on top of your blockchain. This is where gaming comes in, and gaming could really be key for Ethereum, because Ethereum needs the kind of dApps that people actually want to use. Right now we have big finance apps like MakerDAO and IDEX, which only have a couple of thousand daily users. More on those in a minute, but the biggest Ethereum games, they're not really any better. They've got a couple of thousand users at max because nobody wants to play bad games. Who's surprised by that? No one is. But the infrastructure for great games is being built right now. Just look at the announcements around major phone companies who are putting Ethereum wallets onto their phones, for example. This is all forward-looking. But if we can get real games with awesome user experiences that people actually want to play, then Ethereum will be a powerhouse for the gaming world. And awesome games are being made today for Ethereum of the future using things like Engine. And actually, Ethereum token standard ERC1155, which was developed by the Engine team. Now, this is something that enables developers to issue vastly cheaper fungible and non-fungible tokens. This has now actually become an official token standard and is now available to the entire Ethereum development community. Now, there are currently more than 7,000 developers who are already using the Engine platform to create and integrate ERC1155 blockchain assets into their games, applications, and websites. That's kind of crazy. Some people say Ethereum has no future. Apparently, those 7,000 developers disagree, and that's just for Engine. The ETH developer community is absolutely huge. However, the game market is a competitive market, and basically every blockchain and their uncle is trying to do gaming right now. But still, I think this could be a big and important part of Ethereum's future. The other big part of the scaling equation is actually centered around ZK Snarks, which, while on the one hand offering great privacy technology, on the other hand also allows for greatly enhanced scalability, which could help take Ethereum as it is now up to 500 transactions per second, yeah, even on the current proof of work network. The guys from Loopring are working on ZK Snarks based decentralized exchanging capabilities for Ethereum that will allow for decentralized exchanging with a few hundred transactions per second. But ZK Snarks are not the only guys who are talking about solutions. No, that's not the only tech that's being looked at for solutions, I should say, because we have 0x and Starkware. They are working together to scale decentralized exchange trades by 20x with a new system being called StarkDEX, which will bring large-scale efficiency to the Ethereum decentralized scaling exchanging conversation. And all of that plays into likely what is going to be the biggest thing for the future of Ethereum, DeFi, or decentralized finance, or otherwise explained as traditional financial tools built on blockchain for speed, transparency, and easy transactability. We're talking about stuff like security token offerings, dividends, insurance, microinsurance, tokenized assets, lending protocols, which are actually already gaining some pretty big traction, escrow, derivatives markets, and on and on and on. Things like MakerDAO and IDEX, to be honest, are just the tip of the iceberg in terms of financial tools. When we understand what these new generation of decentralized exchanges and decentralized exchanging protocols are all about, when we understand that companies like Ernst & Young built their Nightfall software to power the DeFi revolution of blockchain, it's very exciting stuff. This is going to power the next Ethereum price run, and it's going to do it in a way beyond just simple speculation. We're going to have millions of Ethereum locked up for things like MakerDAO or collateral for insurance contracts and being used to pay out dividends and all kinds of other use cases like that. Now, all those things that I mentioned may not sound super revolutionary if you're living in a highly industrialized economy like the USA or New Zealand or Australia or the Netherlands, for example, but actually, it is already a major improvement over the existing systems to an unfathomable degree, as our current financial system is plagued by painful inefficiencies and usually keeps business hours in most regards, which is also ridiculous for a 24/7 economy. All of these things I mentioned make a freer flow of money, which must be driving banks crazy. Their business models are big time under threat. And when you realize that the majority of the world's population does not live in those countries, and then you think about the potential of the decentralized finance movement to totally break the world open for billions of people with things like peer-to-peer microloans, access to wealth-building tools and dividend-generating assets, the ability to tokenize your assets to access credit, to send money without a bank account, and so much more. At that point, we are starting to talk about blowing the global economy wide open, and that is some exciting stuff, guys. If Ethereum can be at the center of that, then it will easily cross back over the $1,000 mark. And Ethereum, more than any other blockchain, smart contract platform perhaps I should say, is incredibly well positioned to take advantage of this movement due to the approval that it has received from major players and of the strong network effect of the companies who are part of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And we see things like the Polish bank Alior, which is now using Ethereum for document authentication. It's one of Poland's 10 largest banks, and is now going to allow the customers of that bank to check on the authentication and basically the integrity of official documents that they receive using the public Ethereum network. And just this week, we saw internet security provider Cloudflare that they have announced that they will be introducing the Etherium Gateway to their distributed web gateway toolbox. This will allow users to interact with Ethereum, explore the blockchain, and add interactive elements to sites powered by Ethereum smart contracts, all without having to install any additional software, which is huge to see yet another big company building public tools for Ethereum. And the super big announcement about Ethereum in the last few days, and this is huge, guys, you're not going to believe this, is one of the biggest and craziest things. No, seriously, it is big time. Austria Post launches the crypto stamp. Yeah. Actually, their collectibles launched on the Ethereum blockchain, so yeah, okay, I'm being a bit silly. It's not actually that big. Still kind of cool, though, when it comes down to it, you know? Stamp collecting is leaping into the 21st century. Yeah! So even though this is a touch of the mundane here, the reality is that the crypto stamp is the first use case for non-fungible tokens launched by a government so far, which is very cool. And I actually do have a big story in terms of recent Ethereum-related decentralized finance stuff, and that is MetLife. This is the global insurance giant. They are going to be using Ethereum to disrupt the insurance industry, which, in case you don't know, is nearly a $3 trillion industry globally. And they are a major player in that industry. In particular, they want to make claims more transparent and more efficient. And this is what is being called their life chain project, which will help loved ones quickly determine if whoever died was protected with a policy, and then will allow them to automatically file a claim if they were. Should the pilot be successful, then it could transform the insurance industry by breaking into new markets, allowing for the development of new products, as well as the ability to serve a much more diverse set of customers, and all at lower price points by cutting out overheads. Everyone wins. This is the power of blockchain. This is the power of decentralized finance. If Ethereum can successfully do these things, then yes, it will cross back over the $1,000 mark again. I remain not only a fan of Ethereum, but I'm confident that they can pull off this upgrade successfully, and that Ethereum will remain a massive force in the blockchain space in the years to come. But hey guys, that's just my two stories about it. You will let me know what you think about Ethereum. If Ethereum can cross back over that $1,000 mark, if Ethereum is going to be big in gaming, if Ethereum is going to be the blockchain for decentralized finance, hit me up about all those things and more down below in the comment section. Daily reminder, you guys are supremely freaking awesome. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. You can also subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Click that bell to know when I put out a new video. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.